I am here to discuss another what's considered a big issue. This is considered a big issue somewhat in the furry community among the hyena furries and the pro-hyena furries, and then the Lion King fans who may or may not be furry. So, this has to do with the portrayal of hyenas in the Lion King, and some people taking it as offensive and possibly hazardous to the safety of actual hyenas in the wild. Now, I have to say that when The Lion King came out, there was this biologist somewhere who was a hyena conservationist and biologist who found it really offensive that hyenas were portrayed as the villain in the movie. So he advocated boycotting the movie in order to save wild hyena populations. And while I do not hate hyenas, I actually love hyenas. I want to give you my opinion for why this is what I say about my being Jewish. I'm a type of Zionist that called a lionist. And by being a lionist, I don't hate hyenas, but I think that people who stand up for hyena rights are a little bit like people who completely boycott Israel and say, free Palestine, Israel is completely evil. I feel the same way about the anti-Lion King, save the hyenas, boycott the Lion King people. So, I'm going to tell you how I feel about it. So, for one thing, as you know, Disney has admitted that not all hyenas are bad. With The Lion Guard and the release of Never Judge a Hyena by Its Spots, they have the good hyena, Jasiri, and the song Sisi Misawa We Are the Same. So basically Disney has admitted that within the Disney canon, not all hyenas, in fact most hyenas are not bad, most hyenas are good, as Jasiri said. It was just the hyenas in the first movie and the bad hyenas like Janja and the Lion Guard who are bad. So, for people who, there was a long debate as to whether or not the Lion King was like saying that hyenas were not a part of the circle of life, that every creature was a part of the circle of life except for hyenas who deserve to die. The Disney company has clearly refuted this and stated that no, that is not their stand on hyenas, that they definitely are a part of the circle of life, and most hyenas do respect it. The ones who don't were just the ones that you saw in the first film, and some of which you see in The Lion Guard. So, enough about that. That's been proven. But anyway, so, for some people who might not know, spotted hyenas, which are the species featured in The Lion King, are actually one of the few large African mammals that are not endangered. I am not completely aware of the status of brown hyenas, striped hyenas, and aardwolves, the three other species of hyenas. I don't know how, whether they're threatened, endangered, critically endangered, vulnerable, not sure of that. So this will not be about them, but this will be about spotted hyenas, who are the species portrayed in The Lion King. So, so I was going to say that the only hyena deaths that The Lion King has ever caused is a few delusional people who everybody realizes are crazy are reported to, and I don't even know if this is true, but there have just been reports of a few people going to Africa and killing hyenas because they saw The Lion King and said that it made them hate hyenas and want to kill hyenas. Again, I don't even know if those reports are accurate or were just put there by hyena fans to try to boycott, to make the movie, seem worse than it was. So, but either way, if somebody had done that, the majority of human beings, even the ones who don't really love animals, would agree that that's crazy, they're delusional. Killing a hyena because of a movie would make most people seem, nuts. However, what a lot of human beings, normal humans as opposed to other kin or therians or furries, don't understand is that persecuting wolves for killing livestock, which has gone on for 10,000 years and still goes on today, is just as crazy, if not more. For one thing, years ago in the northern hemisphere, wherever wolves lived, there was this universal hunting culture in which humans and wolves lived side by side as hunting partners, eating a diet of mostly meat. it was through this partnership of hunting with the wolves and learning how to hunt from the wolf that dogs were domesticated from some wolves. So, but what happened is that after a while, um, some of the people in the Northern Hemisphere started to domesticate other animals, such as farm animals. Now, in spite of what some people say, not all the early cultures who domesticated farm animals and had livestock hated the wolf. Some remembered that if a wolf took one of their livestock, the wolf was just hungry. But, they chose to domesticate livestock, and if a wolf occasionally took a farm animal, the wolf wasn't being evil, the wolf just had to eat just like they did. So um, they kind of let it go whenever that happened. And what the thing about it is that bears and wildcats are just as likely as wolves to attack farm animals. And either way, only 1% of farm animal deaths are due to predation by wild predators, wolves or bears or wildcats. There, let me see. The wolf deaths, the livestock deaths due to wolves, the reason that they enrage so many early farmers and herdsmen is not because of the wolf attacking a farm animal, but because for so long they too had been part of that universal hunting culture, and the agricultural cultures who hated the wolf and killed every single wolf they saw killing a farm animal were not so much hating and persecuting the wolf, but hating and persecuting, trying to kill their memory of once being part of that universal hunting culture. For some reason, these early farmers wanted to forget the fact that they were ever part of that universal hunting culture with the wolf, and whenever a wolf attacked their livestock, it reminded them of that, so they wanted to kill the wolf in order to kill that memory. So, in modern day psychological terms, that would basically be seen as a mental health hang-up, which I believe it is. So, because for one thing, bears and wildcats were just as likely to do that, but those early cultures who hated the wolf when the wolf killed their livestock never hated the wolf or wildcats to that degree. In fact, some of those cultures revered the bear as their grandfather or their great-grandfather, and would have, in their folk tales, would say that the bear could sometimes be dangerous, but the bear could also be a great friend, whereas the wolf, the great gray, wicked, wily wolf, was evil and always wanted to have every animal and person for dinner, and they even said that the other forest animals would say that about the wolf. So that was because, the wolf reminded them of that early hunting culture that they were trying to forget. So for people who still say, oh, but even today, wolves attack livestock, you have to protect your livestock, it's about survival. Bullshit. As I just said, it is bullshit. I just explained why. Because if it really was about survival, if they had to protect their livestock or each other from being eaten, they would have killed and hated and persecuted bears and wildcats equally as much as they would have to wolves. So, but they didn't. Sometimes they revered bears and wildcats, but they always hated the wolf, those cultures who were trying to forget about, that once being part of that ancient hunting culture. Like as I have said, not all early farming cultures wanted to forget about being that part of that early hunting culture. And for those early cultures with livestock who didn't mind the fact that they were once part of that universal hunting culture, and who liked to remember it, but didn't want to forget it, they didn't hate the wolf. They still herded livestock, but whenever a wolf took one of their stock, they didn't, hate the wolf or persecute the wolf. They didn't treat it any different from when a bear or a wildcat took one of their livestock. Those cultures revered the wolf as well as the bear and wildcat as their brothers and sisters well into, the medieval period. So, let me see. So, the fact that, human farmers and herdsmen did kill and still do kill wolves, excessively, wage incessant war on the wolf, as opposed to other animals. And they do also kill bears and wildcats, especially today, but still not to the degree as they do the wolf. to protect their livestock. That's not because they want to kill the wolf. It's not for survival. It's because they want to what they want to survive is not wanting to remember that they were part of that hunting culture. What they want to kill is their memory of once being a part of that universal hunting culture. And the only survival that it would serve would be the survival of their denial of the fact that they were once part of that universal hunting culture. So, most modern humans, however, do not realize that. I have noticed that they think that killing wolves to protect livestock is not only normal, but it's necessary. They have an adverse reaction sometimes when people say, "Oh, don't persecute the wolf." They still think that cultures that live by that lie, are just doing it for survival. That it's a part of their culture that they have to kill wolves. When in reality, any cultures who still live by that ideology they're still in denial about ever being part of that universal hunting culture. And I feel that any person or any culture who still is in denial about that and wants to kill an entire species off, to kill their memory of once being part of another culture, is seriously crazy. I would if you look at it in a logical perspective, it is crazy. Um, so, and now I'm going to get into something else about lion conservation. Lions, some people complain about how lions have worse behavior than wolves, about how male lions kill cubs when they take over another pride, and how lions will kill hyena cubs and kill hyenas and stuff. However, spotted hyenas also are known to engage in savage behavior. Hyena cubs will often fight each other to death at times, and a lot of hyena lovers don't want to admit this, but that sometimes does happen, and sometimes adult hyenas will fight each other to the death. They can have really brutal fights that, resemble warfare almost to that degree. So I'm not making this up, this is true. So some people would say, "Oh, but killing each other together in a gang fight, that's not nearly as bad as killing a young animal." Yeah, you could see it that way, but in spite of that, I really don't care. I'm a lionist. I'm a lion, eagle cherub hybrid spirit. I'm part lion within my soul. And, for anything bad that lions do, I don't do it myself, because I have the logic not to do it. And so does any liontherian, lion furry, or lion kin. So does any lion creature, any cherub or griffin or sphinx, kin or therian or furry. It's only physical world lions who do that, and in spite of the fact that they do it, I really don't care. I still revere the lion as the king of the beasts, as one of the kings of the beasts, as a symbol of royalty, and as a sacred animal to Judaism, because lions are sacred to Jews, Christians, Muslims, Freemasons, and many different pagan sects as well. So, many different pagan religions as well. So, what is currently happening, the reality of what is happening in Africa, is that African lions are seriously becoming endangered, more endangered than they were in the 80s or 90s even. They're edging on critical endangerment. As for Asian lions, they're even more critically endangered. The lions in India are critically endangered, and there used to be lions in the Middle East. That's why you have all these lions in the Bible, the Torah, and the Quran, but I don't even know if they're around still. If they are, they're in isolated pockets, but I completely support lion reintroduction in the Middle East, in Israel, as well as in Muslim countries. I support it everywhere wholeheartedly. So, as well as in all of India and all of Africa, north and south of the Sahara. So, lions, however, are more in danger of extinction of that than spotted hyenas. For some reason, spotted hyenas are not, as threatened with extinction. And so for a hyena conservationist to advocate boycotting the Lion King to save spotted hyena populations, it's kind of absurd, and I think it's kind of silly. Of course, if spotted hyenas ever become seriously endangered, if they ever become endangered at all, then I will be all on board for saving them. I will be all for hyena conservation if spotted hyenas do become endangered. But they have not become endangered yet. Whereas lions are seriously endangered, and wolves are not always as endangered depending on where they are in the world. But the reason they are endangered is for this human mental health hang-up, basically. Denial of being part of a culture and killing the wolf because you're trying to kill your memory of being part of a culture that you don't want to remember being part of. So, I feel like the biologist or any biologist or conservationist who thinks that spotted hyena conservation is one of the most important goals now, and especially wants to boycott the Lion King, is being pretty ridiculous. Um, for real effective animal conservation, I suggest putting hyena conservation altogether kind of aside. Well, you always have to consider it. You always have to think about it in case spotted hyenas do become endangered. And again, I don't know as much about the 3 other species of hyenas. If those 3 other species of hyenas are endangered in any way, then I completely support conservation of them. I am just talking in this video about spotted hyena conservation, which I feel is important. It is important to make sure that they don't become endangered, but because they're not endangered yet, supporting their conservation, especially by boycotting the Lion King, is kind of silly. The important thing for conservationists to do now is support wolf and, yes, lion conservation. I know you have some hyena fans who say, oh, lions are not as cool as hyenas. Lions kill cubs, and hyenas are much more civilized to each other, and hyenas have such a bad reputation, whereas lions are loved, so much, more than they should be. I don't care. I do agree that spotted hyenas and all hyenas have a bad reputation that's undeserved. However, the Disney company, as I've said, realizes this and is talking about it in The Lion Guard. So, because of that, I support wolf. I feel that wolf and lion conservation should come before spotted hyena conservation. Say, if for one thing, if Africa and India and the Middle East lost the lion completely, say if the modern-day lion species, which the African lion, the Indian lion, the Middle Eastern lion are actually the same species, they're just different subspecies of the same species. If that species was extinct, whereas at the same time the spotted hyena was alive and prowling around like the hyena fans say, resilient for decades or centuries after the lion was dead in Africa, I would consider that blasphemous. That would be sacrilegious to me. I don't care if hyena fans would think it was cool or would hate me for saying that, but it would be complete blasphemy, because as an earth-based Jew, lions are sacred to me. I am part lion, eagle, cherub in soul, so it's part of who I am, and it's how I see God. So, that's what I hope that everyone will see this point, and that, wolf and lion conservation should come before spotted hyena conservation at this point in history. And boycotting the Lion King to save the spotted hyena is just stupid, because whether or not anybody, killed a hyena because of the Lion King, which is highly likely that nobody did, that person would be regarded by the majority as the crazy person that they are. But the persecution of wolves is still not recognized as the crazy psychological grudge that it is, and I hope that this video will make it apparent that it is just that, a psychological grudge that needs to be worked out basically on a worldwide therapeutic level by the whole human race. The part of at least the big part of the human race that wants to forget about being part of that, once universal hunting culture. Peace, shalom, rawr, and oh.